log in using the details provided to you. Most likely be your email, and your password is most likely going to be your name. Double check that. If you have a question or have forgotten password, click the link. Make sure you have come to sls.rpa.avcrm.net and you'll be able to log in. Left-hand menu over here, this is the operational menu. If you need to do anything, over here on the right, you have got the setup menu to change your password under My Security or look up the videos. Most important part here is the job manager and create job. So to do this, go through, we can put all of our details in here under job name, whatever you need to call it. Come down to job date, you can click the calendar button, bring up, you can change the dates, you can change the time. So this of course must be done before you start flying for the day. This part here is only going to have to be done the once per day, whereas each flight we will do later is going to be done per flight after each flight. For clients, select SLS UAV team. Always select your standard Surf Life Saving New South Wales schedule. Drop down the list of RPA that you are authorised to fly. Click the green add to job. For now we will skip RPA equipment. Grab a support crew who's going to be there helping you on the day, or you can free type someone not on the software. Select your strategic themes. SMS stands for Safety Management System. So we're going to be flying a multi-rotor craft, which is of course your Mavic, Phantom. Select operation type. VLOS, visual line of sight, means you can always see the drone and orientate from it. Under operational area, shark surveillance. Location, check your location. So maximum height in feet, depending on the flight, that is up to each individual flight. I'm going to do 60 feet for this one, and my job details. This is of course meant to be as descriptive as you can, so put in as much information here as possible. For now I'm just going to do something brief for that, but you would put in all that information here. Double check that your emergency contacts have come through. If not, you can add more if you want to be fancy. Go through, click next, come to your job area. What you can see is this is our job area of where we're going to stand. This, you can either search by the Google search here, or you can come out, drag this yellow crosshair around to where you're going to stand, and on the right hand go to create areas. Area name, let's grab the landing area. You can click that on the map. You can click it again, make it smaller, make it bigger, change the colors, drag it around, and start creating all of these different areas. For an ops area, I like to zoom out and I might hit polygon, because that way I can really put in as much information as possible for this. And you can do all of this sort of stuff here that'll make sure not only yourself but your chief remote pilot knows exactly where you want to fly and where you don't want to fly. Put in as much information as possible there. Jump down to the job airspace calculator. So if you zoom out here, you can start seeing the airspace that you're operating in. Note that other people might have different airspace. Through here, it'll show you the details of those aerodromes or the helipads or the restricted areas that you can use to keep in contact with. Whenever there's an ad, you can add it straight to your craft or straight to your job. Here, you'll also see national fires and national parks and bushfires are going to come through. Come down, grab your area NOTAMs. Don't be scared if that happens. It might come through like that. Airspace, operating in Class G. Add anything, or you can take anything away. Click next. Grab your risk assessment. It's going to be whatever risk assessment that Richard, Paul, Brent actually advise you to. For now, I'm going to select this one. Select. Make sure you've got the most up-to-date version. Hit confirm. Come through, hit next. This is your JSA or your job safety assessment. Make sure you go yes, because we checked our maps and charts over in here. Maps and charts. And then we're going to do job-specific threat and management. You're going to check items that are fine, go through, check your airspace, whether within limits to operation. Maybe I'd say not checked. That means it's going to say you must put why not. Come through, finish the rest. What you can see for obstructions and building in trees, I can click, yep, that's checked, but click that little earth button and you might have a geotag right here. You can put those specific items for a crane. You can actually even take a photo straight away as well, upload a screenshot or add any additional notes. Come through, finish this off. Hit next, add any additional attachments if necessary. Next, and then sign off. Obviously a lot easier to do on the Crystal Sky than it is on the computer. Save changes. If at this stage you've missed anything, this is going to take you all the way back to the start. You are then going to have to refill that. It'll tell you there is a value required in here, and it'll get to this point. It'll just say now this job is approved and ready to fly. So you can go back to the dashboard, and in the next video I'll take you through how to actually start that job. When ready, you can come across here and we are going to start job by clicking the blue flight tracker button. Drop down, grab the job that you need to fly, hit start job. This is going to take you to your pre-flight information, so obviously before you start flying. You come down, you've got an information and the details of what you just put in. Click next, it lets you double check your area, double check your airspace calculator just in case maybe a NOTAM area has been turned on or we've got a bushfire that's popped up. And we can re-grab our NOTAMs, hit next. We can actually view our risk assessment to make sure that we've got everything that we need to have in here. Come through, we can view any attachments and we can do our pre-flight checklist. So we're bringing the craft out, we're making sure everything's okay and it's all good to go. Save changes, that job is now running. So basically what you need to do now is close out of this, go into the DJI Go app and start flying your job. So from here, once you've flown your first job, so say you've got 15 minutes of flying, you'll come in here, grab this flight tracker again, find your running job, and it's going to bring up a list of all of your flights. So flight number 1 was planned for 8:30. That's the one that we've just done. We haven't flown our 8:50 job yet. So we'll click on this. It's going to bring down our flight number 1. It's going to have the pilot conditions. Let's say, fine. Did the aircraft fly? Yes. What time did we start? So we were meant to start at 8:30. Let's bring this back to 8:40. And let's say we'll copy that. And let's say we finished at 8:50. So we did 10 minutes. We'll come through, we'll grab our batteries. You guys will actually see a battery there. So that'll populate. You'll grab which one you used. They'll all be labeled as 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab the one you did, hit 1 cycle, and then come through, grab any observations that you found. Now we're gonna say for this one, we didn't see any sharks. So we're gonna leave that blank. What we now do is sync flight. That flight is done. So we close back, and when we're ready, we're going to go back into this, into the DJI Go app and fly our next flight. Okay, so now we've finished our first flight of the day. We'll jump in back into the system here. Up at the top right next to your name, you can see a blue box with an aeroplane in it. Click on that one, select the job. Sometimes this just takes a few refreshers. Grab that. This is the one that we're currently flying. Grab the job that you have just flown. So let's say it's flight 2. Conditions, so the weather was fine. Aircraft fly, yep. Put the start time in. Put the finish time in. On your system, you're going to have a battery in here. So you bring that, grab it from the list and hit 1. Go down here. For this one, we've got no wildlife observation. So we'll click sync flights. And then that is done. So that's the information needed for that flight. So close this, go back to your DJI app and fly the next flight when you're ready. Let's say we've just got back from our next flight and we saw a shark. So before we go into the right hand up at the top, before we go into that airplane tracker, we're going to go into the green one with the binoculars. We're going to look at our wildlife. We're going to click on the approximate area that we were. We're going to come down and we're just going to select what species that we saw. Let's say bull shark. We saw one of them. If we want, we can put an activity. So let's say transitioning and why they were there, maybe bait bulls. But these two here, so activity and attraction activity, you do not have to put in. So let's say what we did is we used the drone siren to evacuate the general vicinity for the water as per your SOPs. We'll click that one. It's going to ask you for a start time and a finish time. So let's say we started using the drone siren at 12:48 and we finished at 12:51, and that's when we had everyone safe. So we'll put that in. Add in additional notes. And then you say, yes, I took video. This little here just shows you how to and where you put the video and how you name it. Grab weather if you want, select your job. So we're going to select job 136 and we're on flight 3 because that's our next one. We're going to hit add observation. That's all fine. This just allows you to go through and add another one. However, what we're going to do down the bottom, we're going to hit submit pending observations because that's the only one we saw. Close this. Go up into the flight tracker, find that flight 3, which is the one that we've just done. And what you'll see, once we refresh that, we can now grab that in there and that's come through as we needed to. So we'll go through whether we're still fine. Yes, we flew. And this was our different start times. Add the battery again and hit sync flights. Now, if you come to our flight 4, what we can actually say is whether maybe it started to get windy. We can say, no, we did not fly. Now, let's just say it's just that flight. However, if we got rained out or if we are not going to fly for the rest of the day, what you can actually do is cancel future flights and then sync flights again. What that does is you'll see now all the rest of our flights are cancelled because it's too windy. So at this situation, we've got all of our flights being cancelled. What we can do is we can come across and then we're ready to finish the job. From this same screen, I want you to click Finish Job. It's going to think about it and it's going to put all of this information back in the same spot. So we'll jump in, job finish time, change that if you need to. Otherwise, I'm happy to leave it like that. Put in your duty time, so the amount of time that you spent for your shift, 7.5 hours. Go next. You can update any information here on your flights if necessary. Otherwise, they're going to be all completed as we did before. So we'll go through, we'll hit next, and we can do our post-flight checklist. So just go through and check everything, make sure everything was all right. If you had an accident, if you had a crash, an incident, this is the point to put a not checked, and you can start noting down any damage. Click next. There's no attachments that we needed to view. Go into defects. So as I was talking about before, if we had an accident, what you can do is you can hit add defect. It'll grab that drone that you're flying and you could say, maybe we had a prop strike on landing. And this, we're not going to do one now, but this, once you hit save changes, would go through to the chief remote pilot and the maintenance controllers. That is a completed job. That's all you need to do. So just remember, you start and you finish your job at the start and the end of the day, and you do your flights through the flight tracker throughout the actual day themselves. Now, a little tip here, when you come to your next flight, so your next shift, what you can do is you can go on the left-hand menu to the job manager, find that job that you did last time, because this is only going to store your jobs, find it, hit duplicate, and what you'll notice is that gives all of that necessary information. All you need to do is reselect, change the time and dates, come down, make sure you've got the right RPA selected, and then come down, select your strategic themes, come across to the next, make sure these are up to date. What you can always do is you can always shift these down. So if you've got to move all your landing areas for an operation, you can do that here. check your airspace again, check your risk assessment, redo your JSA, and then sign off again, and that's going to redo that job. So as you'll start seeing, the more you do this, the easier it gets, and the more information that the system starts pre-filling for you, so you can focus on flying and the minimum sort of steps to get that compliance level.